Gotcha. Colorado man from now on may decide to sue the first responders who actually saved his life. While Roy Ortiz says he's lucky to be alive after getting trapped in this submerged car last fall, he's now planning to file a lawsuit, possibly against Boulder County, Colorado, for $500,000. Joining us now, that man, Roy Ortiz, and his attorney, Ed First. Gentlemen, thank you for being with me today.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
So, Ed, if you can please, as his lawyer, explain to us why your client would feel compelled to possibly file a lawsuit against the very people who he should be thanking potentially for sitting in that chair today.
You know, Ms. Carlson, this all started out as a civil claim against the other driver who pushed Roy further into this intersection. I don't know how familiar you are with the actual facts of what happened, but his car falls into the water, and then another car comes into the intersection and hits him, flips him upside down. So at that point, Roy was underwater, submerged underwater for over 2 hours. And the fact of the matter is that it appears that rescuers, divers, failed to ascertain where he was, if he was in the car, if he'd been washed away. So there was a presumption that he was dead, and then there was no exigency to get him out of the car.
Yeah, but how would they for sure know that? You're in this flash flooding situation. They actually show up on the scene, and by most accounts, maybe even jeopardizing their own lives by going into this car. And by the very nature of the fact that they weren't sure if somebody was in there or not, I mean, they ended up finding him. Why would you sue them?
Well, you know what, when you say they ended up finding him, they only found him when they were trying to extricate the car out of the water. I mean, there were quotes made to CBS 4 here in Denver by members of North Metro Fire on the day of the occurrence saying, hey, when we were hooking up tow cables to this vehicle, and then we heard him knocking in the car, and then we realized this wasn't a salvage effort, it still was a rescue mission. So it was by fortuitous happenstance that they found him still alive in this vehicle.
And I know your client,
if I can continue,
I know your client Roy does not speak English very well. I do want to just get a brief statement from him about how he's feeling now, because I understand that he's still suffering injuries and he has huge medical costs. Mr. Ortiz?
Well, I feel like kind of stress, anxiety, like some problems with my shoulder and my chest. Mm-hmm. But the worst situation is in my anxiety, my problem is lived by bad dreams against this situation.
Right. But look, let me ask the both of you, Mr. First. You understand why people watching right now might have a sense of anger that you would possibly be suing the rescuers for $500,000 when your client is sitting next to them alive?
Yeah, as far as the $500,000 point, let me just please say that the governmental immunity notice requirement here in Colorado forces us to kind of put the cart before the horse, and the notice requirement mandates that you have to specify a dollar amount of damages. So no one is saying that Roy has actual damages of $500,000.
Yeah.
It's just that the notice requirement makes us state a cap. Well, so we went with a high amount just to lock in any possible claims for going on down the road.
Could it be that you're just looking for somebody else to pay all these medical bills? And by the way, is Mr. Ortiz a U.S. citizen? Is he here legally in this country?
Well, that has no bearing on anything with this case. But the fact of the matter is that
I think our viewers would like to know that. Is he in this country legally or not? Is he a U.S. citizen?
That has no bearing on this case, and it certainly doesn't prevent him from presenting any civil claims. And that's just an aspect of this. That's completely irrelevant to the matter at hand.
Okay. Well, you told me earlier in the commercial break that you believe that he is undocumented and that he is not here legally in this country. It's an important point. As we're looking at all the details of this case, it's an important point. Keep us up to date on what happens with this lawsuit. Mr. Ortiz and Mr. First, thank you for your time today.